You know, one of my favorite video game genres has always been rhythm games. Either that be web games like Friday Night Funkin', or arcade games like those Japanese ones like Neat Music and Pop, or even just ones like home like the games Don-chan is from. I love them all. But I think my favorite rhythm game ever has to be Rhythm Heaven. It has to be Rhythm Heaven Fever. I love the Rhythm Heaven franchise. It's always amazing how they make every single rhythm game different from the last, except for the sequels, if that makes sense. But it's still an amazing franchise, and I've always wanted it to be expanded upon more, which I'm happy about with the new Rhythm Heaven game, Rhythm Heaven Groove, coming out later. But because of that, I've always wondered which I would want a character in Smash from that franchise. And well, from the title of this video, you probably already know who, but before I actually chose him, I actually had 5 other characters chosen that I was debating between. One, which I will show now, the first one was the Samurai. He's also been in every single game, so it made sense for him to be a contender. And I thought he would also really work well in a fighting game. The next one is a monkey, and that's because, well, the monkeys have also been in every game. They're kind of like the mascot of some sort of Rhythm Heaven. Next is Marshall, which Marshall/Core, the choir kids, because he looks similar to them. And I thought, ever since Fever, I've always seen him as the mascot as well. He seems like the face of Rhythm Heaven, but that might be because of the choir kids and everything. And the next one was the Space Dancers, their species or something. They would have abilities from all of them, because they've been in every game as well in one way or another, their species, I think. And last but not least, even though it's only been in 2 games, unlike most of them, the wrestler from Ringside. But I think that's just because he's so iconic that, well, it would fit no matter what. But I didn't choose any of them, because I chose Karate Joe, because he was the first minigame you played in the first Rhythm Heaven game. So he's kind of also been the face of Rhythm Heaven in my opinion, biggest face. So this video is about me figuring a moveset, costumes, taunts, everything about it. And this is what if Karate Joe was in Smash Bros.
Missing you, please understand. Without you, I'm dying. No one will know how I bear my pain alone. In the end.
Now, before we continue on with anything else, let's start with the costumes. The first alt would just be his plain old black and white one from his first appearance in Karate Man from Rhythm Heaven Tengoku, which I thought would fit perfectly because, well, it's the default look. For his second look, it's a blue tint from Karate Man, from Rhythm Heaven DS, and Rhythm Heaven Fever, and Rhythm Heaven and Karate Man Kicks from Megamix, which I thought would fit because blue is his second most iconic look out of all of them. The third one is the reddish-orange look from Karate Man Combos and Karate Man 2 from Rhythm Heaven Fever, which I thought would fit because also that. His fourth alt would be a black and white look, inspired from how he looked during one part of Remix 8, I believe, from Rhythm Tengoku. And I thought it would, I know it's not exact, but I thought it would be neat to have an inverse of black and white with him. For his fifth alternate, this one changes up, these next 4 would change up the costumes a bit. For his fifth one, it's the Player 2 from the 2-player mode from Rhythm Heaven Fever. I thought it would fit, instead of just putting Player 1, I thought Player 2 would fit better. For his sixth alt, it's his hair one from Remix 6 and DS. He'll get a teal tint, and he'll get hair on his head, like a more luscious hair. For his 7th alt, it's the futuristic look that he wears in Remix 7 from Rhythm Heaven Fever, which would fit because it's the 7th remix. And his final alternate is is Karate Man Senior, which I thought would fit because, well, it's the most unique out of all of them, and it would be a big model change, which I think would be fun. And those are all the costumes that would be like they would all have the same animations and everything. Nothing would change to them in game. It would purely be just the cosmetic look. All right, but before we start with the moves, I wanted to say I didn't want Joe to just be Joe. I wanted to include other characters from Rhythm Heaven. So I decided some of his specials, his throws, and smash attacks would have characters from the Rhythm Heaven franchise appear and help out Joe, so he can represent multiple games and multiple mini games and all that. So let's start with the specials. His neutral special is the only one that Joe will do alone. This one it's basically just a regular punch, but an item one of 5 random items would spawn, and each one would do something different. For 50% of the time, a pot would appear, like a flower pot, and Joe would punch it and it would go forward. And if it hits an opponent, as seen in this demonstration, it would do around the same damage as Mario's Fireball, and it would knock back the same as Mario's Fireball. Not really like, a killer. So it's not the best, but it would be a pretty good one. 25%, a soccer ball has a chance to come out. It will be faster than the pot, and it will do around but it will still have the same amount of knockback. It will do around the damage of a near fully charged arrow from Link. At a 15% chance, a rock would appear. It would do the damage of Simon and Richter's axe, and it would have big knockback. It would have one of the highest knockbacks out of all the items, but it would be pretty good. At an 8%, there's the cooking pot. This one, when hit, it will split into 2 objects, the lid and the main pot. The lid will arc upwards, and the pot would go forwards. If the pot hits the opponent, they would be sent upwards into the lid. And if both hit, it would do around a damage of a fully charged Mario forward smash. So it's pretty good. It would be slower than the regular pot and rock, but it would still do good damage if landed. And last but not least, at a 2% chance, it's just a bomb. It would basically just be like a bomb, like that Peach can pull, so it would do big damage, big knockback, all of that. And so I thought it would work because I wanted to vary, since Karate Joe can hit multiple different objects in his games. And for his up special, I decided to make the rhythm rockets appear to help. And I know there's 4 rockets, but each one would do the exact same thing. It would work like Banjo and Kazooie's special, where it would just launch you upwards. So Joe would grab onto the rockets if he's off stage, or on stage if you want to use it there, and it would send him upwards a good bit, and then he can jump again. You would be able to jump out of it, so you can try and make it back to stage. It won't do any damage, so it's only good for recovery, not damage and everything. I think it would work. For his side special, the samurai would appear, and he would do his whirlwind slice. I think it would work like Mithra's side special a bit, but the character wouldn't move. The samurai would slide out, whirlwind slash, and then disappear. And it would do pretty good damage. It could send him flying and all that, but that's kind of it. But last, his down special, one of the 2 sumo brothers appear. And they do I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's when they slam their feet on the ground. It will create a small shockwave, and it would work like Donkey Kong's down special, where it creates a shockwave to stun opponents and everything. And I think that would work perfectly for it. For his throws, they're actually pretty interesting, but his grab and pummel, they're basically just regular grabs and pummel, oh, I grabbed you, I punched you, that's it. But for his up throw, what would happen is that one of the birds from Blue Birds would appear, and they would peck the ground and then stretch out their necks, sending them flying. As you can see in this demonstration I made, you can see kind of how it would work. For the down throw, Tangotron would appear. He would grab the opponent, spin them around, which would cause them to be buried. It would work very similar to King K. Rool's down throw, and as you can see in the simulation, this is what it would kind of do. For his back throw, the wrestler from ringside would appear. He would do one of multiple poses. They would all do the same, and it would create a small shockwave that sends the opponent upwards, like, and back. For the forward throw, the space dances, one of the space dancers appears and does the punch, which each like pa would do a bit of damage, and then they would be sent flying forward, as you can see in the demonstration. For the smash attacks, these ones I chose 3 of the franchises. For his down smash, I chose the Tappy Trio, like the Tap Monkeys from Tengoku. The 2 monkeys would appear next to Joe, making him in the middle, and they would go ooh-ee, and then they would like tap their feet 3 times, each one doing a separate hit and then sending them flying somewhere. As you can see in this demonstration, it would kind of work like this, but not exactly. For his forward smash, the golfer would appear and charge up a forward swing, and then when you let go, it would swing, sending the opponents flying, as you can see in this demonstration. I wanted to include it somehow because golf is one of my favorite minigames from Fever because of the music and everything. And for the up smash, I wanted to include the choir kids. The 3 choir kids would appear, and they would go together now, and then they would let out a big blast, like they would go up, and that which would send them flying, as you can see in this demonstration. Before we move on to the rest of the attacks, let's go over the taunts. His up taunt, I think, would be him just smiling, like he just did something and he's happy and all that. And I feel like that would fit. Maybe he punches something. For his down taunt, I think it would be hungry, as a reference to when you fail on Karate Man combos, I believe. And for his side taunt, I think his cat would appear on the top of his head and just like do something. I don't know exactly, but I think it would be cute and work very good. For his regular attacks, these ones are all Joe. No one else will help him with these ones. Let's start with the air attacks. These ones are his neutral air. It's just a regular punch. I couldn't really think of anything because, well, there's nothing really you can do in the air besides what I've chosen for something else. But for his other air attacks, I took them, like, they would work very similar to how the other fighting game characters work. For example, his forward air would be Terry's forward air or something like that, like an air kick. His back air would be like Ken's. His down air would be like Kazuya's, where it would send them downwards. And his up air would be like Ryu, where it's like a short little uppercut, like that. For his jab, it would be a 2-hit jab. It would be the punch kick. And basically, it would like just be a regular punch kick and all that, and then send them flying. It could like do a normal attack. For his tilt, his forward tilt is just the kick from punch kick, just a regular kick. His up tilt is an uppercut from the end of the combo, and his down tilt is the beginning, is like the short beginning of the combo. And his dash attack, this is what I like, is the fail combo. He'll be running at his opponent, and then he'll trip and then spin out, which I would find funny, which I think would be perfect. And now finally for his final smash, this one was difficult. I wanted to do a cutscene final smash, but I couldn't think of a way to make it work. So I decided to make it work like Wii Sword Fighter and Wii Fit Trainer, where it's a bunch of like attacks at once. So what would happen is Joe would use his final smash, and suddenly a bunch of objects would appear. It would choose randomly between the 5 objects that I said from his neutral special, and Joe would hit them all perfectly. They would all go flying around the stage, hitting anyone. I think they would go a little farther, and there would be a lot more objects, maybe a bit more objects, but they would be around it would come out the same speed as Wii Sword Fighter, and they would be different, and it would all be luck. For example, you can get unlucky and make it so it's just all the regular pots, or you can get really lucky and it say it's all bombs. But it would basically all come out and just like, fill up, like, do like a cone attack, and anyone that got caught in it would be comboed by all the projectiles. And then when it's done, he would land, and that would be it. Now for his victory screen. The 3 win screens I chose is that the first one it would zoom in on a TV, and then it would zoom out and show Joe just watching the TV as he does in Remake 7. I think that would fit for one of them. For his second victory screen, I think it would be the end of Karate Man, where it does a combo and then it keeps a pose and everything. I think that would work. And for his final one, I think it would work like one of Simon's victory screens, where it's like constantly animated, and it would be him constantly punching and then randomly punch, hit, or combo. And now I want to talk about a stage. I'm not making it, but I feel like how it would work. It would work like WarioWare, where randomly a rhythm game would start, and if you do well in the rhythm game by like hitting the projectiles or doing the thing it says, you'll get a little bonus and stuff. I think that would work. And, well, that's how I think I would put Karate Joe in Smash Bros. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I know I haven't been uploading a lot. It's because I've been busy with getting ready for college, and that's kind of it. And so, I want to say thank you if you made it to the end of the video. Please like, subscribe, all of that. And before I go, I'm currently working on 3 more characters' movesets. It's just either A, I haven't played their games yet, or B, I play their games, I'm just still figuring out their movesets. But here are the teasers of the next 3 characters I'm currently working on.